But let's move to the final segment, and that is 21 through 30. We're going to change it up again. What we're going to do is we're going to go through how we usually do. We're just going to read off our picks for 21 through 30, and then we're going to try to talk about every single team. What we want you to do, as the listener, as the viewer, to let us know which style you like better. So go back to the 11 through 20 if you didn't already, and watch that as well so we can get a better feel of what you guys think is the best way to put through this information, because we felt like the last one, we were talking too much about the picks, and we really didn't get into a conversation. So hopefully this will lead to more conversation. We will see. If you guys have any other ideas on how to talk about every single pick, all 30 picks, please let us know. But boys, let's jump into it. Rick, give us your 21 through 30.
So because I am a dum-dum, I'm going to ask one more time. Same as 1 through 10. I just go straight through, and then we'll talk about each one?
Yes.
Okay. So starting off at number 21, the Thunder are going to go Nasir Little, the forward from UNC. Then the Celtics at 22 go Ty Jerome, the guard who likes to bounce the ball off the back of his foot, from Virginia. Then the Jazz, Grant Williams, the forward from Tennessee. Then the 76ers go with my boy Iggy Brizdickis, the forward from Michigan. Cavs via the Rockets going Daniel Gafford, the center out of Arkansas. The Trailblazers then go Cam Johnson, forward from UNC. Nets via the Nuggets going KZ Okpala, the forward from Stanford. Warriors go with Admiral Schofield, forward from Tennessee. The Spurs at number, what would that be, 29. Going with Goga, or as I like to call him, Gorga, Batazde, the center from International. And then the Bucks go with Talon Horton Jr., the forward from Iowa State, or THT.
All right, Dave, give us your 21 to 30.
21, I've got Nasir Little going to the Thunder. At 22, I've got Keldon Johnson falling all the way down to the Celtics. At 23, I've got THT going to the Jazz. 24, I've got Cam Johnson going to the 76ers. At 25, I've got Daniel Gafford going to the Cavs. At 26, I've got Matisse Thybulle going to the Trailblazers. 27, I've got the Nets going Bruno Fernando, or as Ricky likes to call him, Fernandez.
Hell yeah.
I've got the Warriors at 28 taking Grant Williams. I've got the Spurs at 29 taking Charles Bassey. And at 30, the Bucks taking Ty Jerome.
All right, my 21 through 30, I have the Thunder taking the best player in the draft, Naz Reid, the forward out of LSU. If you haven't seen him, he is basically Michael Jordan. Then 22, we have the Celtics taking Daniel Gafford out of Arkansas. 23, the Jazz taking Cam Johnson from UNC. 24, the 76ers taking Luguentz Dort from Arizona State University. 25, the Cavs via the Rockets taking Bruno Fernando from Maryland. At 26, we have Trailblazers taking Goga Batazde from International. 27, we have the Nets via the Nuggets taking KZ Okpala. 28, we have the Warriors taking Grant Williams from Tennessee. 29, we have the Spurs via the Raptors taking Lewis King. Shout out your boy, Ricky.
Hell yeah.
And then 30, we have the Bucks taking Matisse Thybulle from Washington. I don't know which one it is. It's not Matthias.
I believe it's Matisse.
Yeah, I don't think it's Matthias because no H.
I'm not sure. I listened to...
It's
who was it?
Mattis. But yeah, it's
might
not
be Matthias.
Matthias. It's not Matthias, I don't think. But let's jump through it. We'll start with the Thunder at 21. What were we trying to address at least with the Thunder? Was it best player available? Was it potential, or was it some fit that you like with Nasir Little? You both guys have taken Nasir Little.
I just figure they like athletic wings who can't play basketball. So I give him an athletic wing who can't play basketball.
Nice. Good for you.
It's a theme pick for me.
So Nasir Little's going to win the dunk contest next year?
I mean, Hamidou Diallo was dope.
But Terrence Ferguson didn't, though.
Terrence Ferguson didn't, but he learned how to shoot, which was awesome. He stepped up into a role, and I loved him. I loved Terrence Ferguson before coming out from Australia. So Nasir Little, I don't think his story's done. I think he's got a lot of development to do. I think this is a team who has a knack for maybe developing these type of players.
Yeah, and Ferguson, too, he came, and I think he was like the 14th ranked high school prospect or something like that. Yep. So very similar to Nasir Little in some ways, where highly ranked high school prospect didn't go in the lottery, though. And then they were, had to do a lot of development to come over. Clearly, Nasir Little coming from more a respected program in UNC than Terrence Ferguson going to the Australian Basketball League. But definitely an interesting fit. I had Nasir Little going a little bit earlier. Still don't have a real gauge on what he is. But Ricky, what do you like about the fit?
Yeah, for me, it's one of those where could they use a kind of athletic wing? Yes. But also the Thunder in a position, almost like I said with the Heat, where if they take Nasir Little and he needs to take the full year to develop, I'm going to use I almost want to say like Markelle Fultz, but not exactly Markelle Fultz, where it's like, hey, we're a good team. If you have to take the year to kind of work on you and like get ready to be in the NBA, fine, we can do that because we are a playoff team with or without you on the court. Like they're a playoff team now. Adding Nasir Little, if he doesn't play, this team with Paul George and Russ are still a playoff team. So for me, I wonder if Nasir Little might be at 21 in some people's minds if he hits at 21 might be like, wow, that was the sleeper. How'd he get all the way to 21 where I will be the first to tell you, look at his college tape. That's how he got to 21.
Mm-hmm. I have him going to Nasir Little. Looking at the Thunder, the big thing they need is offense, and Nasir Little will Naz
Reid.
I have the other Naz. I have Naz Reid going there, and one big thing with the Thunder is they don't have a lot of offense, at least coming from their 4 and 5 spots. Jeremy Grant did develop a shot, which is big. Markieff Morris really hasn't made too much of an impact since coming up from Washington. Patrick Peterson's been there forever, but really has not. I mean, he's nothing special. And then you'll get Steven Adams, a great defender, and Nerlens Noel. Hasn't come over and lit it up exactly, but has done a decent
great
job.
defensively.
Yeah.
He's not an offensive monster.
And that's the thing is I think you need an offensive monster down there because a lot of the scoring, if not all of it's just relied on 3 players in Russell Westbrook, Dennis Schroeder, and Paul George. And taking that off with a guy who can play a different position than those guys would be huge. And Naz Reid can do that. Naz Reid can score. And maybe he's not the best rebounder for his size, but you have Steven Adams, you have Nerlens Noel, you have Markieff Morris, who he might not be on the team next year, but at least can provide boards if he does stick around. So the biggest thing that I think that he can do if he's playing next to a Steven Adams would be provide scoring, and I think that his athleticism and his body would be huge in a Russ pick and roll.
May I toss out Enes Kanter as hey, look, they did it before.
Yeah, kind of.
Should they do it again?
Yeah, he's more.
Is he going to get burned because of his lack
though.
of defense? I know, but
Yeah.
you remember they did roll out the Mustache Bros together for a bit.
That's true. And it worked out for them. It's just that Kanter was too expensive. And we won't have that problem with Naz Reid. You might have the problem that Steven Adams is too expensive, but I think for what he provides is very worth his contract.
So young, too.
Yeah, so I think that Naz Reid providing that offense would be absolutely huge for the Thunder, and that might be a reason why they might not succeed in the playoffs. Maybe a second-round exit would be what we're looking at for them. Maybe Western Conference Finals.
Maybe first-round exit as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, if they don't make it, though, I think it's going to be probably due to just their offense relying so much on just Russell Westbrook and just Paul George. And I think a lot of that also has to do with Billy Donovan, so we'll have to see what his fate is after the season. But let's now jump to the Celtics at 22. I have Daniel Gafford, Ricky, you have Ty Jerome, and Dave, you have Keldon Johnson. We talked a little bit about Keldon Johnson already, the Celtics, kind of comparing him to Avery Bradley. Why did you go with the pick, though, for Keldon Johnson?
Yeah, same deal. Like that,
Okay.
It's that easy. It was just, he's a good player. He can play defense. His shooting's erratic. Celtics, you know what? Why not add another guard to another wing to your team? Because, you don't have enough of those already. He's not a guy who's going to demand a lot of minutes, which is nice. There's not a whole lot of ego there for him, so I think that he can fit in a bench role, limited minutes, and work his way through that rotation.
Yeah, and you obviously went differently because Keldon Johnson was on the board.
Mine was tricky, and the reason why is I already had them go with a center. I already had them go with a wing, and the only other position I think they need to hit with one of their first round picks is a point guard. And after you got Ja's gone, after Colby White's gone, after Darius Garland's gone, this is, to me, the biggest team that is hurting from Trey Jones saying, hey, I'm going to go back to school and go back to Duke. Because this would have been a prime location for them to take Trey Jones. He would fit with that team. He'd be good for that team. But now it's like, okay, do we go with another wing or a 4 with what I have left? Do they go with a Grant Williams? Do they go with an Iggy? Do they go with a Cam Johnson or an Admiral Schofield or even a KZ Okpala? Or do we reach a little bit for a point guard? And I looked what's left. Shamori Pons I don't think is a first-round pick. Carson Edwards is for sure not a first-round pick.
Really? Cassius Winston, he played his way in.
I don't think he's a first-round pick. I think
who would
he's
you
a
rather have,
second round.
Shamori or Carson?
I would, if I had to pick between the two, I'd have Carson.
Agree.
And I feel like the only one left that's a possible first-round pick is Ty Jerome, because I feel like for me he's more 25 through 30, but at this point it's like, hey, is it a reach? Yes. But is it a bad reach? No, because at this point in the draft, you just take whoever you think is going to help your team the best. Celtics need a point guard. That's why I go with Ty Jerome. And he could be a guy that he's not going to be the main scorer, so he's not going to take points away from Jalen or Jason, and he could just be a guy that's more of a facilitator if Kyrie leaves.
Yeah, I had him going with Sekou Demboya earlier at 14, and then I had him going with Keldon Johnson at 20. So I kind of filled out that wing and guard spot, and then I felt like they need someone at that center position. I know Aaron Baines has been there. Now Horford does have a player option. But the biggest thing that I think stands out for them is that Al Horford hasn't been the same Al Horford. And Aaron Baines, while he's fine, I think Daniel Gafford will provide a lot more energy out there. Very similar to what Robert Williams can do, but just more at the center position and more of a bigger body. And I think that would be really helpful to the Celtics team. When Al Horford isn't out there, this team really doesn't run. And I don't think Daniel Gafford would be able to provide what Al Horford does at that center position, but he will be able to provide rebounding, which is something that has been a huge, huge, huge deficiency of the Celtics team. So I really like Daniel Gafford there for the Celtics. He probably should be going a little bit higher, but just with some of these team needs, not a lot of these teams need a center, and I think center is just not really...
It's a low-value thing because you can get just another guy to kind of play there, and it's not one of those positions where having an excellent center propels you to that next level often.
Yeah, and the only reason why we have a guy like Jackson Hayes going so high is just because you look at the Hawks and that's the only thing they really need.
Yep.
And with the Celtics, they don't really need much. It's just really filling out depth.
I could honestly see this be like a Euro player.
Oh yeah, this could be Goga.
I'm saying someone who's not coming over.
Or Luka.
Yeah, it could be a handful of guys because this is the problem. They're stuck with these picks until free agency starts.
Or they trade for Anthony Davis.
They can't.
Oh, that's right.
Because
of
Kyrie's still under the roster.
That's right.
So they're stuck with these picks. So you have to either attempt to draft for yourself, you have to attempt to draft for the Pelicans trade and go for valuable guys, whether the fit matters to them. Or you kind of ride the middle post and be like, we could use these guys, but we can also float €1, €2 maybe. So I think it's an interesting draft choice.
Do you think the Celtics, now that we know for sure how many picks they'll have, of course the Grizzly pick,
we don't know.
They could get because of, we know where the bottom three are going to be.
Correct.
And they could get the Grizzly pick still because
actually, they could not get the last one because the Kings pick could go to number 1.
Okay. So for right now, we know 2 for sure
2
are theirs.
Yep.
Let's say they have 3 or 4.
Sure.
Do you take one of these later picks and say, hey, you know what? Maybe we don't need to spend a guy here. Do they trade the pick? Of course,
100%.
You're getting a pick, but it's like, hey, we can go and get a guy where it's like, hey, we're trading back, and then we'll get an international guy that we know is not coming over.
I could see them trading 3 of these 4 picks if they get 4 of them. 3 of these 4 picks just to get future picks because that way the Pelicans can use it.
Yep. It's all value, and that's the problem. Is like as soon as you take the guy, your pick is less valuable. Like having Keldon Johnson, Ty Jerome, or Daniel Gafford is less valuable than having the 22nd overall pick in the draft.
Yep.
That's what it is. That's how value works in the NBA draft. So
it makes sense too.
Yeah.
Because
it could be anything. It could be a boat.
Exactly. It could be Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I think that with the Celtics is it's definitely on the table, but we have to make picks, and that's the thing. So we made picks. Let's move on to the Jazz at 23. I have Cam Johnson, Ricky. You have Grant Williams, and Dave. You have Talen Horton Tucker. All thinking about that 3 and 4 spot. Or 2 spot if you're looking at Talen Horton Tucker.
He can play 2 through 4.
We're all thinking wings.
He a big chunker.
Why are we thinking wings, Ricky?
Well, for me with the Utah Jazz is I'm just sitting here going, my biggest kind of thing, and of course I go into my Google spreadsheet and it goes into the main part of it. But yeah, for me, the next pick down with the Jazz, I was just looking for best person on the board. And for me, I had Grant Williams last time to them. He is still there. So I'm going to go ahead and have him go again. Is he a little undersized? Is there questions from some people? Yeah. But I personally like Grant Williams. And also, I look at what he's going to be. And some people are like, oh, he's a 3. Some say he's a 4. If he is a 4, Derek Favors is the only one there. And he's on a contract year. So that's another thing.
The thing that I look at with Grant Williams is I think he might be too much like Joe Ingles.
Yeah.
At least play style wise.
That's never a bad thing.
Yeah, but
Joe Ingles actually is a much better shooter than him, though.
Oh, for sure. But I'm just saying, kind of undersized guys, pretty decent with the ball in their hands. Not undersized for Joe Ingles, but are they a 3? Are they a 4? And I think they're both really good with the ball in their hands. Like they could be facilitator for at the wing position. So that's why I think at least drawing comparison wise, at least size wise, and they don't really have a lockdown position. But I think Grant Williams is definitely an interesting pick. Might be a little bit of a reach, but I think one of the bigger reaches, Dave, and no offense, is Taylor Horton-Tucker. Talk me into it.
He's got potential. He's got that P word that everybody loves in the NBA, whether you like to admit it or not. It's Pepsi. It's the same reason that Dante Exum has 2 more years at $9.6 million, who's done nothing but get hurt. And he's looked awesome in the couple of games he's played between getting hurt, but that's all he's done. So I think that Taylor Horton-Tucker is a guy who you can mold. He has great athleticism, great body. He needs to slim down if you want him to play a smaller role, or he needs to actually work out and muscle up, because a lot of the big things against him are his conditioning and his body shape, basically. I feel like they've body shamed him on national TV a couple times. I felt really bad about that. I think that's like maybe going a little too far, maybe going a little too PC for me. But regardless, I think he's one of those guys who I could see this team being able to use him in a unique position, kind of as Jay Crowder is going to exit this team. You're going to want to have someone who can go on from the bench unit, body guys up, down low, work in the post, but he's also got a decent shot, decent defensive player. Like, he just has a lot of potential because of his wingspan, his height. Like, his whole body makeup is potential, basically, right now. The thing that kills me is this is a team that I could see trading up. I want them to trade up. I want them to go get another guard, because what I'm seeing is Rubio, there's a chance he doesn't come back, which leaves you with either running Exum at the one, who you can't count on, Raul Neto, can't really count on, or Donovan Mitchell, Grayson Allen backcourt, which I think would be intriguing, but that still, you need more guard play at that point. I said intriguing, not good. So
that was me. I kicked my water bottle.
Oh, okay. I got real scared there.
No.
Got real scared. So I think that they could go for another guard there, but there's no guard who I love enough. Like, I don't think that Ty Jerome is a great grab at this point yet. Yeah. So if they could trade up into those, teens and get into Cale Alexander-Walker, someone who could come in and really complement Donovan Mitchell and work with Grayson Allen in that second unit, I think that would be probably their best case scenario.
I agree with you there. I don't think there's a great point guard available.
So let's say my mock draft plays out. Darius Garland is falling towards 10. Is there any way in your mind the Jazz?
There's always a way, but they don't have the actual capital.
And that's what I'm asking. Is it possible for them to maybe, let's say 10 or 11 is where Garland falls? Could they move up, or are they too far back to make a move like that for a Garland if he slips?
It's a lot to give up for him. I don't know that they do that move. I think right now we're seeing them work really well with Joe Ingles facilitating. So I don't know that I would go for a Garland on this team necessarily fit-wise. I think you need someone maybe a little more unselfish. Your primary scorer is and will always be Donovan Mitchell. And then you have such a depth of guys who can stand up and take excellent shots, high percentage shots for you. So Darius Garland, I think it would be an awesome offensive pairing, but I don't know necessarily it's the best fit for this team.
If Walker falls to 17, they're calling the Nets.
Yeah,
I'll put it that way.
100% would.
17 to 23 is a very doable move.
Yep.
23 to 10, not that doable.
Do you think it would also hurt them to maybe wait? Could they wait on that and get let's say, Carson Edwards if he's there at 53? They have the 53 pick in the second round.
I don't think Carson will be there at 53.
Okay.
And again, second round picks are much easier to move for, so that could be interesting. But I just think that this team needs to make a move to put themselves in a better position for the draft. They're not quite in the right zone. It's just the way it laid out right now. Who knows? After the lottery, things could change. People could fall, as we just did the NFL one. People fall.
And I'm not huge on Ty Jerome, so maybe even Ty Jerome's available there at like 53, which would be a good pick. Could shoot from the outside, can pass the ball.
We'll see. I've got him going at 30. And
your boy Cassius could be there too.
Cassius could be. I love Cassius.
That's why I said your boy.
Yeah. I'm not high on Ty, so
that's fair.
That's one thing.
We all got opinions.
If he fall to 53, I'd like that pick.
Yeah,
but
that'd be great.
I don't like him at 23. I don't like him at 22. I don't like him at 30. I think that's a little bit too high.
All right.
I am going with Cam Johnson. Kind of similar though. At least kind of similar. At least thinking in the wing. He's a very good shooter. Can knock down shots, and if Joe Ingles is going to be a facilitator, if Donovan Mitchell is going to be a combo guard, you need somebody who can stretch the floor still. And Cam Johnson is a guy that can do that. Ever since I kind of started paying a little bit more attention to Cam Johnson and looking at him, I kind of always looked at him at that 23-24 spot for the 76ers of the Jazz. I really like him as a shooting aspect to one of those teams, and I think that's where he's going to end up. kind of a little bit higher than you guys. You have him going next to the 76ers, Dave.
Yeah.
And Ricky, you have him going 26 to the Blazers, but I don't think it's too much of a jump. I think he's not a great defender, but he's at least put himself in good positioning. He doesn't have bad positioning. He's just not that great of an athlete.
Yep.
So that's really what hurts him there. Let's move now to the next pick, and that's the 76ers at 24. I have Luguentz Dort. Ricky, you have Iggy Berzdikis, and Dave, you have Cam Johnson going. Talk about you like Cam Johnson, the 76ers.
Yeah, I think he's just the perfect fit for their system. You need to have someone at the 4 who can stretch out the floor for Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. So having him come in, you have Tobias Harris potentially if you sign him for next year. We'll see about that. If you don't, I don't have a huge problem with Cam Johnson because he's an older player. He could probably step in pretty okay into that starting lineup without too many problems. But in ideal situation, he is a bench 4 for this team, and he's out there rocking it in limited minutes. And I think he absolutely is just a dead-eye shooter from 3. So it's not like he's eking out with like low count on his 3-point shots to kind of cheese that percentage up. No, he's taking the shots. You've got plenty of game tape on him. You know exactly what you're getting with his product. So as the 76ers, for once, I'm taking the guaranteed product.
And for me, of course, I go with Iggy because I liked what he did at Michigan and was able to shoot from the outside. He can go ahead and work in transition with that team, especially off of steals and running for fast breaks. Here's the question I have about the 76ers, because I feel like I picked a wing just because of what you said, Dave. Here's the thing I want to ask you guys. Let's say P.J. Washington, for whatever reason, is available at 20 at the Celtics. If you're the 76ers, do you call up the phone, knowing the Celtics, we mentioned, want to maybe move some picks? Do you maybe do that to trade for a P.J. Washington? Because Mike Scott's your only power forward on the roster.
No, 100%. But
once burned, twice, I don't know. That's making deals with the Celtics.
but it's only 20 and 24.
Calling the devil, Dave? You're making deals with the devil?
It's only 20-24. You're not going to get a Fultz Tatum screw job.
But it's only 1 to 3. You're not going to get a full stand. No, I'm
different.
sorry. No. They're going to draft somebody, and it's just going to be like, man, the Celtics.
You know what it is? You know what it is?
Mm.
Celtics.
Take a Naz Reid?
No. Celtics will be there, and they'll be like, no, we don't want P.J. Washington. 76 will take him, and the Celtics will take Naz Reid.
Yeah.
And Naz Reid will turn into Michael Jordan.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think the 76ers, if P.J. Washington started falling, I think they'd be definitely a team to move up. That's really can be said about any team.
PJ's just got a great skill set, and he developed his game in such a short 1-year turnaround time. So I think seeing that improvement out of him and that encouragement, his attitude to go out there, hurt, and play, he has everything you want out of a 4.
100%.
Because I almost have the same thought about the 76ers that you had about the Jazz, where it's like, I want them to get a 4, because like I said, Mike Scott's the only one on the roster.
Yeah,
he's a free agent at the end of the year.
The only concern I would have is just that would him and Toby kind of be two similar players?
If you resign Toby, that's the asterisk to all this.
Yeah, and I mean Toby's up at the end of the year, but I look at the other power forwards, and out of the ones on the board that I have left, Killian Tilly, Dietrich Lawson, and then you go into second round territory, Ethan Happ, Jalen McDaniel.
Is definitely second round territory.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Even a Dietrich Lawson could be second round territory to where I'm I don't feel like reaching for one of those. That's why I go with a wing and someone at the 3 at that position, because there's just a ton of them right here lower in the draft. And I just wonder if one of the 4s at the top fall a little bit. Could the 76ers pick up the phone, call somebody to maybe work a deal for that instead of just saying, hey, we're just going to sit here and take BPA?
I mean, you could go for Eric Paschal. He's one of those guys who maybe could go to that range.
I think the 76ers are looking BPA though.
Or
they need bench help in any single way at every single position. So I don't really think the biggest thing is they have a big need. They just have a need for bench players.
The GOAT could be leaving. TJ McConnell could be going.
You're gonna kill Jake by saying
GOAT.
I just worry that the 76ers. I mean, the 76ers just I have him going Luguentz Dort just because again he's probably the best player available. And coming off the bench, potential wise, he's the youngest at least. Him or Lewis King. He's a freshman. Putting up 16 points in the Pac-12 is nothing to scoff at. And I think his body is definitely something that is moldable. Yeah, I think that he's a guy that I'm really intrigued by. So I think that if you're able to get him at 24, it's definitely worth the risk. I would have Ayo Dosunmu here from Illinois, but I think he's going to go back. So that's the reason why. But if he wasn't going back, I'd go Ayo just because scoring off the bench.
Just a quick correction. Did you say Pac-10?
Said
Pac-12.
Okay. I heard Pac-10. I was like, whoa, are we in like 2005 or something?
Nah, I said Pac-12. Let's move away from the 76ers, though. Let's move to the Cavs via the Rockets. I have Bruno Fernando going there. Rick, you have Daniel Gafford. And Dave, you have Daniel Gafford. So we're going with the big boys. I think the biggest thing is just, Tristan Thompson.
Contract year.
Yeah, contract year, and he's just also, so try to get an upgrade.
Yep. It's not super scary or hard of a choice. The team has so many holes to fill, and if you're assuming Kevin Love will be there next year, I'm not worried about the 4. You got him and Larry Nance working together, holding down that shit. So,
and really, with all of us going RJ, I'm not really worried about the 3 because I just drafted my 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're basically stuck with who you got at the 5 rolling forward, and I absolutely think that Daniel Gafford fits this team, and they could be young kids running with him. Works well.
Only position I would worry about then would be probably the 2 guard for the Cavs. But that's nothing too crazy because they're going to be bad anyways. Let's move now to the do we really want to talk about Gafford too much? We've talked about him a lot.
The thing with Gafford that I like with him is with this Cavalier team, A, upgrade from Tristan, and B, he's going to be grabbing a lot of boards for the Cavaliers
Tristan already does that.
I know, but Gafford's going to do better. Gafford's going to be a better version of Tristan Thompson.
Like at his peak or right away?
Tristan Thompson was one of the best rebounders.
Tristan Thompson's pretty decent.
I'm just going to say, as of right now, it's going to be like they'll start out with Tristan on top, and then it'll very easily be, yes, we're not going to resign you, and Gafford's the future, and we're just going to switch you guys.
You think it's a Rolo situation?
Basically. Like, Wendell would have been the starter if he didn't get injured.
By the way, the disrespect to Brandon Knight saying they don't have a shooting guard. I know they play 2 point guards together because, J.R. Smith didn't want to play basketball this year.
I guess, no, that's disrespectful to J.R. Smith because he's probably going to come back next year, right? Right? J.R., please?
J.R., please?
What soup is he going to eat this year?
I like how he goes with the soup.
Jesus Christ. Let's move on to the next one. Trailblazers, nothing soupy about this pick. I have Goga Batazde going. Ricky, you have Cam Johnson going. And then Dave, you have Matisse Thybulle going from Washington.
You looked it up?
I'll start off from the Trailblazers standpoint. I have Goga Batazde going there. Obviously, Yusuf Nurkic was hurt and got hurt, broke his leg, so hopefully he can recover soon. But one thing that they will be lacking will be a center. You look at Enes Kanter, his contract coming up. I don't know if they will want to re-sign him, but if they're trying to go with that mold, I think Goga Batazde can be an offensive stud like Enes Kanter is. So if and when Nurkic is healthy, he's your backup center.
And there's a chance he could play defense too.
Yeah, so I think Goga would just be pretty much the heir apparent to Enes Kanter, and I think it would be a nice fit. I don't really have a huge fit for them outside of forward, but I think Goga's the best available, and he also happens to be a fit. So that's my thinking with the Trailblazers. Ricky, what do you think?
Yeah, for me, it's like the only thing I would think of is 3 or 4, basically, and really it's depending for me off of what I saw this year from Aminu and then Harkless. Are both of them great? Not really. But the thing where I looked at here was Cam Johnson, one of my sleeper picks when we talked about sleepers with John on the podcast. And this is one where I'm like, I can't pass him up. I got to go with him. I can plug him in at the 3, and he can be someone that starts out as a bench player, maybe then takes over for Mo Harkless next year or the year after, and can be a really special piece because of, like you guys have said, and how he shoots the ball. Could be a real special piece for the Trailblazers that already has CJ, already has Nurkic, and already has Dame.
Fair.
Dave?
Thybulle, dude's a roamer on defense. I absolutely love his effort. He's the best defender in the entire, I can't remember the conference, West.
Pac-12.
Pac-12, there we go. We talked about it so much, and I literally couldn't pull it. He was the best defender in the Pac-12. He can guard 2s, 3s. I absolutely love this team going forward because we got to see that tiny little peak out of Anthony out there.
37 points. It's not a tiny peak.
Yeah.
That ain't no tiny peak.
When he hits puberty, be afraid. Be afraid. That kid is a monster. His shot's so lightning quick. So they've got young guards on the up and coming with he and Gary Trent Jr. I think Matisse is an absolute fantastic addition to being a 2-3 on that team.
Yeah.
Incredible defense. And his shot's not awful. He had a couple of really rough offensive games. But
Throughout his whole career, he's
throughout
not
his
good
entire career,
offensively.
he's not good. But if you want someone who is Andre Roberson-esque, he's the guy. He's that guy, and I think that's something the team would absolutely love to have, is someone who can step in, make an instant defensive impact. Because, like Evan Turner's been, so great for them. So.
Oh, yeah, totally. Great contract, too. Let's move to the next one. Nets via the Nuggets. Dave, you have Bruno Fernando going. Ricky, you have KZ Okpala going. And then I have KZ Okpala going as well. So, Ricky, talk about our KZ Okpala pick while I change the battery camera.
I mean, I just look at it, and for me, it was I already had them go with a 4. I believe I had PJ Washington, as I'm not looking at the spreadsheet right now. I think I had PJ Washington go to the Nets, or yes, I did. So they got their 4. I look at the 3, and DeMar Carroll is a free agent. Jared Dudley's a free agent. Hollis Jefferson is an RFA. So many free agents at the 3.
Hollis Jefferson's a 4, though.
He's listed as a small 4.
He's a 3.
That's all I'm going on.
Or no, sorry, he's a 4. He is a 4.
All of those guys are free agents. I'm going to go with the best 3, the best wing off the board, and for me, that's KZ Okpala. So I go with it, and boom, I move on.
Yeah, I agree. I think KZ just has so much potential, and it just at 27, it's just a bargain for them. There's no reason not to take him.
And that's the thing with how this is vastly different than our top 10 is when you get down here, it's either we need you to do something really well, like shoot a 3, or defend, or be our scorer off the bench, or it's just, hey, we got who we got, and we're just going to take BPA, and we're going to take the best player there and move right along.
Yeah, or the most intriguing, because this is he's not only the best player, but I think he's also just got the most potential. So there's no reason not to go with it. So
ball handler with his size, his speed, his ability. If he can connect that shot together a little bit more often, he's a little scary.
If he fills out more, you think he's a 4?
I think he absolutely is a 4, and I don't want to say who I think he could play like. So,
who?
Nope.
Who?
Whole bunch of nope.
Say it.
He's long.
Draymond?
No.
Okay,
Close.
I was just thinking a 4 that Dave might not want to mention.
No,
Draymond
he's
Green.
long. He can ball handle. He can go to the hoop with it. His pull-up game is still a work in progress.
Say it.
No.
Say it.
No.
Now
He's
I'm
going to be
really,
MVP this
now
year.
I'm really intriguing.
You think it's Giannis?
I think that he can be a
Hold on,
shitty
what?
version of Giannis if everything works out well.
I've thrown that comparison out.
To
but-
Rui, I
yeah.
know. And that's the thing. You watch Rui play, and you're like, this guy's a longer, taller, better version of Rui, in my mind. So I think that at
You
his
always liked
absolute best,
KZ.
he can put up a garbage stat line version of Giannis.
So
he's a
if Bruno
shitty
Fernando
Giannis.
develops the dribbling handles, would he be garbage version of...
Joel Embiid. Sure.
No, I was going to say Giannis.
Look, I just said as a play style. I don't think that's what he will be.
Yeah.
I think that he is a
Because
slasher.
people freak out when
Okay.
you make
They
those.
do. He's a slasher. That's what you get. You get a
I
slasher who
think it'd
can
be-
facilitate the ball to the outside.
I think it would just be Evan Turner.
He could be Evan Turner.
I think he'd be Evan Turner, just maybe,
he's
maybe a
longer and
better
taller.
shotter.
Is he longer and taller
He's
than Evan
only
Turner?
an
Better
inch
shatter,
taller than
maybe.
Rui.
Yeah.
What?
Only an inch taller.
Wait till he gets measured again.
Okay, he's only an inch taller right now and about 10 pounds lighter
He's a better
than
shotter.
Rui.
And
That's it.
wingspan.
A better shotter.
That's what I said that 3 times. I was just waiting for somebody to laugh.
I just went right
I'm a
past it.
fucking moron.
Now what?
Shatter.
Look, I will defend. I put him at 20 or at 19 for a reason. Like I think he's got potential as a slasher who can facilitate, who has a decent pull up shot. Like he's got a lot of potential there. There's
Yeah.
absolutely a ton to love, and the Nets are one of the best at building young talent. So 100% agree
That's
with
why
you
it's
guys. I
very
think
more
you're
Evan
sleeping on it.
Turner to
How
me
many-
than
Yeah.
Giannis, but
No,
how,
that's
many
fine.
how many did Karras have today in a playoff game? Like what, 23, I think, is what he
something like that,
finished
yeah.
with? Like that goes to your developing. Like
Oh.
that was one where,
They unlocked D'Lo too.
if I'm not
They brought
mistaken,
Spencer Dinwiddie from the G League.
if I'm not mistaken, Karras
Baseballs.
was Karras the draft where it was like, shit, we don't have a first round pick, and then they traded for like the 20th pick the day of with the Hornets.
Might have been,
Was that
I can
draft?
Look it up.
Where
They've done
then-
that. They've traded up into the first round back-to-back years because they didn't have a pick, right?
Yeah,
Or not back-to-back years.
I
but
think
twice.
it's. I'm gonna look it up, but I think that was the Levert one. Was one of those where it's like, shit,
We
we
love
don't
that
have a
kid
first round
too.
pick.
We love that kid.
you loved him.
I did.
You
a lot.
loved Karras. I was fine
That's because
with
he's like little Jimmy Butler.
him. It's true.
Yeah.
It's worse defender.
Yeah.
He's
He's still good.
It was
Crafty
with the
scorer, though.
Pacers.
Yeah. It's easy to be worse than like an all-team NBA.
They switched to
defender.
18 to 22, didn't they?
It was so the Pacers got Thaddeus Young.
Yeah, that was the Thad
And
Young
then,
straight up.
and then Brooklyn got Karras Levert in a future second.
How
good
good of a
trade.
deal is that? It's a
good trade.
win-win.
Yeah, it's a great trade for both teams.
It's a win-win trade.
Good
Doesn't
job,
happen
Pacers
often.
in Brooklyn.
Yep. I got him going Bruno, though, because they need a backup center at this point. You go get just another guy, but I think Bruno Fernando actually has a lot of potential to him because he was a 5-star recruit way back. He's a good ball player. He rebounds okay. He scores okay. He's not going to do anything special, though. Like, he is the, I'm never going to wow you player of this draft in my mind. But he tries hard, so I'll take him.
Yep. And let's now move to the Golden State Volunteers. I have Grant Williams going. Ricky, you have Admiral Schofield going, and then Dave, you have Grant Williams going as well. So let's talk about these volunteer boys. Grant Williams going to the Warriors. I look at it and just like, you need somebody to be bench wing depth, and obviously...
Give me bench Draymond?
What's that?
Bench Draymond?
No. I'm just saying...
Like, he is the bench version of Draymond, is what I'm saying.
But more like Andre Iguodala. Like, they just need bench depth at the wing position, and they don't have that.
Sure.
And I think Grant Williams can provide that. I think he's a very smart player, well-rounded player. Might not have a size, but that doesn't really matter to the Golden State Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, they play small time. He can pass out the low post. He can work that mid-range paint area. There's nothing amazing about him, but as a leader, he's exactly what you want. He's a high IQ, high team-oriented player. So I think that you get somebody worth a lot more value than a lot of the intangibles. That was the word I was struggling there. Great intangible player. And he has a decent enough game. Just the question of at 6'8", can he, do the whole back to the basket in the mid-range game and get away with it? Or is he going to get smothered by bigger guys?
Mm-hmm. Here's an interesting one, and I'm going to ask you guys about this because let me see. I'm going to look up really quick how many picks in the second round they have because this guy might be there. So they have the 58th pick as well, so end of the second round.
Yep.
Could you see them, and would it be a reach for them to go with a Dylan Windler
No,
type of player? Because
fine.
I'll be honest, I put Admiral Schofield there because of his 3-point percentage and how he can shoot from the outside. I almost want to change it right now to Dylan Windler because I'm like, holy crap, would that be a reach? I almost want to change it, but I won't.
Live your truth, Ricky Widmer.
But I won't.
Live your truth. No, live your truth.
I just look at that and I just go...
So why is Dylan Windler a great fit for the Warriors?
Because he
could shoot.
scores a lot and shoots a 3.
Yep. That's all you need to say.
And they just need bench depth.
They need to think
all they
harder.
Though. That's all they need is bench greatest
scoring.
shooters possibly of our generation.
Why not have more?
One of the greatest shooters of all time. Because why not need more? Because why not just get players that can do other things for your team? You already have two of the you have already have two
shooting works.
You already have two of the better shooters in the league, and Grant Williams can shoot okay.
Not from 3.
I mean, he's
next draft
fine.
I'm gonna have Dylan Windler.
But I think you need a guy who can provide something else, and that's what Andre Iguodala did, and that's what made that team so dangerous was because he could provide something else off the bench. If you just want a guy who could shoot threes, what does that actually add to the team that can already shoot threes?
Yeah, there's a reason why Quinn Cook isn't super highly desired. He's basically just out there to chuck threes. He doesn't play defense, and he's an absolute turnstile there. But in a pinch, he can fill in and be like garbage Steph out there, just without half the ability to facilitate or shooting. But he's a good bench scorer. But that's what you're getting. You're getting like garbage versions of the starters.
I feel like they just need something else. And that's the thing that I don't feel like
Grant Williams brings
the
toughness that only Draymond's got.
Yeah. Let's move now to the Spurs. I don't know about that, but let's move to the Spurs.
Neither do I.
Dave, you have him going with Charles Bassey. Ricky, you have him going Goga Batazde. And then I have him going with Lewis King. Really, do you want to talk about Goga or do you want to talk about Lewis? Because you haven't talked about Lewis yet.
So the thing with...
Because I have him going Lewis, but you've been on him, so I'll let you talk about
Here's the only thing I'll say about mine first is this was just an easy pick of they went with Lewis earlier, and now they're just picking the best center off the board. Lewis King, to me, I think, is going to be one of those players where many are not going to look at him because once Bol went down, people were like, oh, the Oregon Ducks, I don't need to watch them anymore. And plus, he was injured earlier this year. But when he came back, did it take a game or two for him to come back? Yeah. But once he got rolling, he's a guy that in college was a consistent down the sideline. He can be a 14 to 18 kind of game for them, depending on what day you get from him. I think, is he going to be the best wing available? No, on many boards, but for me, I like what he brings. He can shoot, he can drive, he can be a scorer off the bench for you if you need it. And the Spurs are a team that desperately need a wing and a big. And if Lewis King is there, I would be happy with him with the Spurs because he's also going to fit the kind of coaching style that Pop brings to the table.
Yeah, and you already had him going to the Spurs too, so we at least had the same mindset. And Dave, you had him going with KZ Okpala, and I think they do. I think they're kind of similar guys. Lewis King, KZ Okpala, again, like bigger wings that can handle the ball a little bit, can dish the ball. So I think that's why the fit does make sense for Lewis. And then obviously Goga, you're thinking bigs, and Dave, you were thinking bigs too.
Yeah,
with
they
Charles
need
Bassett.
center depth, and it's killing them. Charles, solid player. I know you hate the man because he does not do anything to wow you.
I don't think he's aggressive enough. Yeah. That's the thing is, I don't think he's aggressive enough, and I don't think he's quick enough. We were watching some games of him earlier, and a big thing that he was doing was just a lot of entry passes from his guards, and then just dunking the ball. And all right, but like,
what more do you want out of a center?
But I didn't see enough where it was like
dunks.
This guy's worth a first round pick. And defensively,
don't disagree.
Defensively, people are saying that he can bring a lot to the team. He was averaging 2.5 blocks at Western Kentucky, but it's at Western Kentucky, and like, what athletes are you going up against? So that's a guy that I think when the combine comes, maybe he jumps.
Okay.
But he's a guy that right now I don't feel comfortable taking.
For me, the Spurs are one of the slower paced teams. I think that they absolutely could use him and a player like him. Mm-hmm. They go deep on their rotations most of the time anyway. I think I wish there was a better center. I wish Bruno didn't go to the Nets, and they could have got Bruno. I would have been happier.
Yeah.
But I agree. You need a wing, you need a center. Like that's your bread and butter. If you want to go double wing here, I wouldn't feel bad. Mm-hmm. Then you can go for someone like Admiral. You could go for someone like Lewis King at this point on my draft board. So either way, I don't know that there's necessarily a wrong answer, but I think Charles was my next best center up. So I felt like at that point, make the roll on it.
What do you feel about Jakob Poeltl in a Spurs uniform? How do you feel about his tenure so far?
He's gotten better. When he started, he was not showing me much. He started to get better. I think that he can be a double-double guy there without a problem. It just depends a lot on their offense next year because we're going to see DeJounte Murray back. We're going to see Lonnie Walker contributing. You still got Derek White. You still have a couple other pieces. So scoring wise, you're not going to have to count on him for a lot because you still have LaMarcus Aldridge running the low post.
Yeah.
But ideally, he's probably just going to give you, 8 points, 10 boards. Not going to be a terrible player. I just don't know that he has a ton more. And I don't know that we'll see it that much more unless LaMarcus leaves. And they have to count on him for more of that low post presence.
All right, let's move to the final one. We got the Bucks. I have them going Mattis Thybulle. Ricky, you have them going Talon Horton Tucker.
Talon.
And then Talon. And then Dave, you have them going Ty Jerome. So 3 guys we've already talked about. Mm-hmm. But why do you guys think they were good fits for the Bucks? I'll start off. I've been mocking Thybulle towards them just because I think they need defensive help. And he's not a great shooter, but coming off the bench, and if Brogdon does leave, they do need a great defender. And I think Thybulle clearly provides that. And if he's able to create steals, he's able to create blocks, you're just able to toss it up to, Giannis, and Giannis running the fast break is unstoppable. Mm-hmm. So I think that's pretty much what it is. I think he can create a lot of turnovers, and that's just going to help them, score more points already. And this is a team that had one of the best differentials already in the league, and a lot of that's due to their offensive ability to move the ball around the arc and open up shots for their shooters, and then obviously open up lanes for Giannis to drive through. And then I think pretty much adding Thybulle will just create more opportunities for them to score. So I think it's a pretty natural fit. A long kid that already fits great with the Bucks. So defensively, he's going to be able to step up and provide some turnovers for them when Giannis is on the floor. So I think Thybulle is a good fit for them. THT though, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's one of those. First off, Chicago kid, got to throw him some love. Simeon Career Academy kid. But for me, it's one of those things where, first off, he's got the wingspan, so he's a Milwaukee Buck for sure. But he can defend. He can score. Like, is he a main scorer? No. But he can score. He can defend. His steals are right up there. And number one, Chris Midd could be leaving. So, I mean, he's not like, oh, we're going to plug him in as a starting 3 on this team. But if Chris Midd goes, if Nico doesn't come back, then maybe it's like, hey, we need a guy like Talon Horton Tucker. Where is he an amazing 3-point shooter? No, but he can hit 30% from 3. If he can give you at least 10 a night his first year, it might be a good thing for this team. The only thing I want to see more is him get to the line, because I feel like he didn't get to the line enough. And when he did get to the line, 62% is god-awful in my mind. If you get to the line, you got to hit them, and I would like to see him get to the line more in the NBA.
It's fair. It's fair. I'm going with Ty Jerome, though. I'm going, give me a veteran player, give me a high percentage shooter, someone who was a leader in college, someone who can step in. Basically, it worked pretty well at Brogdon, right? Right, guys? Right? We're all pretty happy with the 50, 40, 90 guy.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and get me another one of them. Continue to build up that backcourt some more just in case. I think they pay him. I don't think that's going to be an issue with Brogdon. I think he's back for sure. But you want to continue adding that depth. You got Baby Brown, you got Malcolm Brogdon out there as present. You want more guys in that same vein. I think Ty Jerome is exactly what that bench unit would be thrilled to have.
Yeah, he'd be an interesting player. He's also long, too. I mean, 6'5" guard. I mean, that's
good defender.
Definitely something that's going to be interesting. Yeah. And I mean, very similar to Brogdon, too. Yep. Brogdon's about 6'5", too. So definitely an interesting pick, too. I don't like him in the first round, but if he's going to go to a place...
I think he's borderline first round. Like, him and Carson Edwards flirt with that first round line, and I think that he is one of those guys where you're like, I think he fits what we want, and you're at the end of the first.
I like that.
It's the contract.
I like that for the Bucks. That's the thing, is I like that for the Bucks. That's going to do it. This was 21 through 30. We did it a different way from 11 through 20. So let us know which way you like better. I'm kind of partial to the 21 through 30. I think it flew by. It was a little bit longer than the 11 through 22. So I think it went a little bit quicker.
Personally, I love this way better than that second segment.
But let us know down below because you guys are the ones digesting this. So we definitely want to hear from you. You can reach out to us at MostValuablePod on Twitter. You can also talk to us on our Discord. And you can join that by patreon.com/MostValuablePodcast and becoming a member at the bronze tier. Also, we want you to at least persuade you or at least implore you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're always just trying to grow and become bigger. So your help by subscribing would be absolutely huge. What are you guys sharing?
I'm reading the magic thread.
Upvote if you had as many points as Kyle Lowry, because I did.
Nice. Yep. Nice. Clippers and Warriors start right now, and if anything from earlier means anything, the Clippers are winning by 40. That's going to do it, though, for the fast break. 2 podcasts in a week, and we just did an NBA mock draft before that. And Ricky did 2 NFL mock draft, live mock draft for 2 hours before that. And then Ricky did 2 other podcasts before that, too.
2 AGCs coming up end of the month.
And you could get those early by being a patron, right?
Bronze, $1, you get it a week early.
$1. So if you're a comic book fan, definitely check that out. But that's going to do it for the Fast Break podcast. We'll be back next week with a ton of patrons coming, so we're super excited for that. And we might not have a mailbag. I just realized that.
We'll see.
We can still do a mailbag.
We'll see how it goes.
Dude, we're going to have a 14-hour podcast.
We could do the mailbag separate and just have it be on its own.
Ricky loves the numbers.
You're going to kill me. All right. Let's move away from this and let's go home.
You thought we were going into Wet Boys. We already did Wet Boys.
For Ricky Widmer, for Dave Oster, I'm Sean Anderson. We'll see you next time.